Hi, I'm Brent, the Chief Experience Officer at Brentwood Livery, and I understand that you've probably been affected by COVID-19 as you're planning your wedding or maybe ready to execute your wedding and had to already move your date. It sucks. Let's face it, it's not what you wanted, it's not what you deserved, and it's not anything you did to bring it upon yourself. It's just what it is, and we have to say it is what it is and move on. But to help you, I wanted to give more than just that. I wanted to give you some value that you can use for planning your wedding. And so I pulled together some wedding experts and asked them for their best advice and what they're doing to combat COVID-19. And you'll probably find they're your vendors because they're our partners and they're in our community and they're serving couples just like you. And they want to ensure that your celebration goes on.
You shouldn't have to stress about how your wedding plans will come together. With chauffeured limo service from Brentwood Livery, we execute your perfect wedding day plan to leave you smiling ear to ear.
When I look at it, the best tip they gave was communication. Communication builds trust, and trust improves communication. Best way to do that is frequency, and make sure you understand what your wedding specialist is going to do for you, because we're here to serve you. We're here to make sure your wedding celebration goes on. So have a listen. You're going to love it. You're going to hear from clothiers to florists to venues to photographers to DJs to wedding officiants. All those questions maybe you had that you haven't got answered yet, hopefully we put them in here. I want you to check it out, and we're here to support you. Thank you, and wish you the best in your plans. You can reach us by email, by phone. We're still open for business as an essential service, and we're here to serve.
Should I cancel my wedding because of COVID-19?
With the times that we're dealing with right now when it comes to planning through COVID and planning through self-isolation and everything kind of getting pushed off, what we keep saying is plans change, but love remains. So to the couple who are listening right now, your plans are going to change, your day might get pushed off, but your love for each other is still there, and try and focus on that. Take deep breaths. The day might not happen when you want it to, it might not happen exactly the way you wanted it to, but it will happen and it will be beautiful no matter what. And we, as well as your other vendors, are always going to be there to help make it the way you'd like to imagine it. So just remember that. Deep breaths throughout all, just deep breaths.
Yeah, we know it's a stressful time for everybody, but the thing is, we want you to continue with your special events. We've had some cancellations, but that's not playing into this at all, right? We want you to still have your big celebration. We want you to still have your big wedding. Maybe it's a month from now, maybe it's 3 months from now, maybe it's 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, but don't cancel your wedding. It's a big day in your life, and although our world has changed, I'd say don't give up that dream and still continue with it. Still have the big party when the time comes, and still make the memories that are necessary. Maybe you have to get married now, just the two of you, but let's still do that big party later on.
I mean, there's so much uncertainty right now, but that's the one thing that I think is certain, is that we are in a wonderful community of collaborative, kind people. And I think if we all work together, we'll find solutions. And things might not be exactly the same, but things will get better.
If I need to postpone my wedding, what do I need to know?
So the first thing that you want to do is contact your venue. There's a lot of us out there that can work at several different venues all across the region. But contacting your venue first and seeing what their plan is the best thing to do, because you probably chose that venue specifically for a good reason. So if you want to continue working with them, then you need to see what dates they have available first. Then all of your other vendors should be contacted. If you're going to be doing a home wedding, like a backyard, a private residence wedding, then be flexible with your date. So if you're okay with a Friday or a Sunday, it's gonna be a lot easier to find that your vendors can just move the date if you're looking at those off days, as opposed to a Saturday in September, which we had all booked up already last year.
Most venues can only support one event per day per space. So there is a finite number of dates available. And why that's important is when you're looking at dates that are further out than, say, the 8-week mark, most venues will not even entertain a change at this point, because we need to accommodate anyone who's legally required to make a change. So it's not to penalize you, it's not to make less your stress, but we do need to take into account like who is in the most immediate need of moving their date and then move out from there. So if you start looking at the 8-week mark, you can get a date penciled in with most venues, but they won't make a hard change until the 4-week mark. So at that point, you'll have to pull the trigger on whether you're going to make the move or if the government has lifted its restrictions and you're able to maintain your current date.
If you're able to work out a potential dates with the venues, we'll work with you in terms of reschedule. Like we waive all rescheduling fees. If we are available in our calendar and your venue is rescheduling a day with you, we'll make it work with you.
So my recommendation is if your wedding is postponed, say 4 to 8 months away, so into the fall and winter of this year, just send a brand new invitation right now if you've already sent them out. If not, just stop designing right now and put your new date on there. But if your wedding is postponed to more than that, like maybe a year from now, I would send a change of date notice right away. Again, acts like a save the date. You can include a website so that your guests have more information as well, and then send your invitation 4 months before so that your guests are able to reply again.
Most floral design companies and decor companies can support a change in date. So that is the silver lining side of this. They may have some additional costs incurred if you're moving to 2021, but in general, most companies are able to move your deposit.
Currently, the vast majority of city halls in Ontario are closed, and that means that a couple may not just go to a city hall and apply for a license and pick it up because they are closed. And so our recommendation is couples contact the city hall that is closest to them, or maybe some on city halls in little more outlying communities, just to find out if they are open.
Should I postpone my wedding to later on in 2020, or should I wait until 2021?
Those who are getting married in June may have seen asparagus or strawberries on their menu. And if we look more at like the end of October or getting into November, you're going to see more roasted root vegetables, which are delicious anyway. But we will help with the menu planning as far as that's concerned. Early November is a really beautiful time to get married. It's before the Christmas rush. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more winter weddings, January, February, March, and there's some beautiful venues in our region for winter weddings. Places like Hauser Hall, Victoria Park Pavilion, the new Le Petit Chapelle. So there's lots of great winter wedding options. So that's one thing to think about if you are going to be moving your wedding.
One thing that you will want to take into account though, if you are moving your date and you are looking at florals, is if you're moving to a different season, you may want to readdress which florals you're using and even your color palette. Like if you had dreamed of a spring wedding and now all of a sudden you're in November, it might not make sense for you to have those soft pastels. So that's something that's easy to adjust, and it's kind of fun because you get to redesign things. You get to go on Pinterest and look through the pictures again and work with your artist again. So a little bit more time with us isn't such a bad thing, I don't think.
Whether it's booking your wedding on a Thursday, Friday, or a Sunday, we'll make sure that we are flexible and we have that availability. We have a lot more off dates that are booking for 2020 or 2021 because these Saturdays are all booked up or starting to get booked up. So we're allowing ourselves to be as flexible as possible for those off days.
One thing that we ask in our policy is if it's possible to stick to original payment dates. So if we did talk about rescheduling, let's say, for example, you have a wedding April 25th or 27th, and you reschedule for the following year, it would help us as a business in terms of cash flow to be able to have the original payment as scheduled.
Can I still have my legal wedding now and celebrate later?
Couples who are still wanting to get married on their original wedding day, one option for them is to still have a small elopement type ceremony where the the couple, their witnesses, and the officiant could meet in their home or at another location. And then maybe at a later date, they could have what would be called a symbolic ceremony and invite their guests to come, have the ceremony with everybody present, enjoy a reception time.
If you're having a small ceremony and we can keep the physical distancing, things like that, and it's within the laws and the recommendations, we will show up. We'll do it.
Weddings that are coming up quickly, we're offering Zoom meetings and Zoom consultations or FaceTime meetings. Like for instance, I've got a wedding next week. The lady's dad is dying, but she still wants to get married, and I obviously fitting with her. We can show you the styles, we can dress up mannequins, we can do everything we can virtually, and then either me personally or my store managers who have a ton of experience will walk you through the measurements. And we can, we've shipped about 6 suits so far for early April weddings, and we've had no issues at all.
Who do I need to communicate with?
So when you're thinking about rescheduling your event, it's important that the first person that you reach out to will be your venue coordinator, because it's wonderful if all of your vendors are available for a date, but if your venue is just not available, then that's not going to work for anyone. So I would say in order of importance, you want to reach out to venue first, and then any other vendor that you know can only do one event. So photographers, even potentially caterers, depending on your caterer. Those are the types of people. Your officiant, if you have someone really specific in mind and you're not working with the company, you want to reach out to those people first, and then do everything else from there.
Once you've made that decision that you have to postpone your wedding, you need to obviously inform your guests. So you can do so online through a mass email, through Facebook, whatever social media platform that you might have. So it can be done very casually, very quickly if you have to do that. You can also do an change of date or an e-invitation to let your guests know, sort of more in a pretty way, that your date is going to be changing. Or you can send out a formal printed change of date notice. So this is done very simply. You're just letting them know that your date is being changed. You can indicate that date so that it basically then acts as a save the date for your guests. So they're able to hold that date hopefully in the next few months, maybe a year from now, what have you.
We understand, like, you intended on having a day, and now that has to change, and it's all up in the air, and there's different vendors with all different availabilities. So we're trying our best to accommodate for the dates that you have open. We recommend trying to get a couple, and then narrowing it down between your vendors, which ones work the best.
Some soft dates.
Yeah, because you don't want to lose out on any of your deposits. A lot of vendors in our industry have non-refundable deposits. So, and you chose these vendors because they were your favorite out of the big bunch.
I hope you found these interviews valuable. It was great to be able to do them and for us to connect with our partners to help you know we're here to help you celebrate. If you're looking for ways to eliminate stress on your wedding day, we've put in a link for you to click in the bottom. It said 10 ways chauffeured service will help you eliminate stress on your wedding day. For us, you've put so much time into your plan. You deserve to celebrate. You deserve not to have to sacrifice the things that are important to you. And we want to help you execute that day flawlessly. Thank you for taking the time to watch. We want to make sure your wedding day, you look, feel, and can be unforgettable. I'm Brent, Chief Experience Officer at Brentwood Livery, and I hope we can be a part of your celebration.